Hi everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am going to be doing a colder season starter pack, as in the Southern Hemisphere we are coming to the end of winter, and I know that in the Northern Hemisphere autumn is starting to approach, and I thought it would be the perfect time to give my recommendations from what I've done this season and some of my favourite books, some of my favourite movies, some of my favourite TV shows and activities to do during these colder months. So let's get into it. Books. The first category is books. A lot of these books I have on Kindle or I haven't yet completely read, but I know are great choices to read during the colder seasons. So I will put a picture of each of these books, the cover of these books, on the screen somewhere. So let's get into it. So the first category within books is classic books. The first book is Farmer Boy. Farmer Boy is the second book in the Little House on the Prairie series. It is a standalone book, I would say, within the series, as it follows the life of Almanzo, Laura's husband, later on, and doesn't really have much to do with any of the other books. But I also think it is a great autumn book, as it follows the change of seasons throughout the book, but there's a big section of it during winter and autumn with all the snow and having to do farm chores and the harvest of crops and growing the crops and the county fair and like pumpkin competitions and all this kind of stuff. It is a very beautiful classic book. I will say that there are definitely some themes that are outdated. There are some negative comments about Native Americans, and I want to preface that because that can be extremely upsetting, and I totally think it's not great to have that kind of thing in books, but it is in there. But I found that the rest of the story, apart from those few comments, was very, very good. The next book is The Famous Five, which is actually a series of books. I love the Famous Five series. Those books are just so heartfelt and warm and cozy. They bring all these beautiful stories to life, and I love the mystery and the adventure behind them. And Enid Blyton's writing is just beautiful. It's classic, and I think it's a great series to cozy up with for autumn and winter. The next book is A Little Princess. I actually haven't read this yet, but I am going to recommend it because I think it is a beautiful story. I only know it from the movie so far, but I plan on reading it, and I think that it's a great thing to cozy up with and just soak in the story of Sarah and her life, and I just think it's a beautiful story. The next category is YA, or young adult books, so let's get into it. The first book I would like to recommend is Sawkill Girls. I will put that up because I don't know if you'll understand what I'm saying, but Sawkill Girls. It is an amazing book about, it switches POVs, and it basically is about this town where girls go missing, and the characters have to figure out where she's gone and what's happened, and there's this magical life that one of the characters has. It's a beautiful book. I read it I think a year or two ago, and I highly enjoy it. The next book is the Cherub series. The Cherub series I have not seen anyone talk about, and the Cherub series is my favorite book in the entire world. It's a series. There are 3 series within the Cherub series, and I've only read the first 2 series, but oh my gosh, it is so good. Robert Muchamore is an amazing author. I love him. I wish I could read them all again for the first time. I love the characters. I love the plot. I love the idea behind it. It is so good. There's so many of them, but they're perfect to binge read because you will just find that you just want to keep reading them. They are so good. The first series follows a boy called James, And it is basically about that. The first book is basically about when his mother passes away tragically. He goes to a house for people who are orphans, and so they can get adopted, but it's like a foster house. And he gets recruited to become a British spy, a kid spy in Britain. And the whole series is just about his life within the campus of like the spies, with all the friends and all the things. Like, it's all just basic teenage stuff. So problems with relationships, problems with friendships, problems with teachers and adults, and all the normal things that teenagers face. But then it also has this amazing adventure as he learns all these languages and he travels the world and fights back against all these things as he's going undercover into all these different places. It is just the most amazing book. I will never stop recommending this book, and I think it should be more talked about because it is just so good. The next book is Harry Potter, and I guess this could be children's as well as YA, but I'm going to put it in YA because I have more children's books, so whatever. But obviously, Harry Potter is a great book series to read during these colder months, as I feel that we always watch the Harry Potter movies during the autumn season, and I think that the book series is the perfect thing. The next category is middle grade. I love middle grade. I love all I like YA, I like classics, I like middle grade, but middle grade has a special place in my heart. The first book I finished recently, which is October. October is so good. It follows this girl who lives in the forest and basically rescues an owl, and it's all about her life with her dad in the forest and how they just live out there, and they live off the land, they grow their own food, they go to their neighbours and they get raw milk. It's beautiful. But then a tragedy happens and she has to go live in the city, and like within London, like the actual London area. And the writing of this book is just beautiful, as the main character, October, struggles with having all these people around because she's lived in a secluded place all her life, and so she panics and starts to get anxious and angry and all these kind of things. But as time goes on, she starts to accept it and learn that you can like both places for different things. I think it is a beautiful book for any age range, and I would recommend it to anybody. The next book is The Mystery of Black Hollow Lane. Again, it is set in Britain, if I remember correctly. I read this a while ago. Read it in 2020, and I read it twice. I love this book. It is another Reagan Revord book club pick. As you can tell, I love Reagan Revord book club. Her recommendations are just so good, and I just cannot stop recommending it. But this book follows a girl who goes to a boarding school, and it's all about her finding friends and joining and figuring out a mystery involving her dad. It is so good. The next book is Pages & Co. This book is beautiful. It's about a girl who lives with her grandparents because her dad she has never known, and her mum disappeared when she was really, really little. And it's all about her life in the bookshop, and the bookshop is just beautiful. You can see it when the author describes it because it's just beautiful. And they've got a cafe in the back of the bookshop, and the cafe serves food, like food from books. So there's like the pop cakes from the Enid Blyton stories, The Faraway Tree. It is beautiful, and it follows her journey of figuring out what's happened to her mum and figuring out that she can actually travel inside books. It is just a beautiful book. It's filled with magic and mystery, and it's heartfelt. I love it. The next book is The Girl Who Drank the Moon. This book I read also in 2020. It is, again, another Reagan Revord book club pick. This follows the girl who originally was sent into the forest because every year the town near the forest or woods, I can't really remember, leaves a baby as an offering to the evil witch, as they're worried that something will happen. And the witch always takes this baby to the town over and gifts the baby. So it's very like, there isn't actually anything wrong with the witch. But the witch then this time, for some reason, that she has this connection with this baby girl, and she accidentally feeds the baby girl moonlight, if I'm right, and she starts to get powers, so she can't give her to the town over. And it's all about the girl who drank the moon and became the daughter of this witch. It is a beautiful story. The next book is technically, I would say, classic, but it's also children's / middle grade. It's also poetry, is the Autumn Flower Fairy series. There's also a Winter Flower Fairy series. There's one for each season, but the illustrations in these are beautiful and the poetry is beautiful, and it's an amazing thing because you get to learn about like the different plants and trees and all the different things, and it's just a beautiful book. The next category is movies. Movies are a great way to just spend time with your family, cuddled up in front of the TV with a blanket, a bowl of popcorn, and I think it's a beautiful activity to do during the colder seasons. The first movie I will recommend is Paddington. Paddington follows the story of a little bear who lived in Peru with his grandparents who found him, and it's about his story of traveling to London and finding a forever family to live with. It is a beautiful story. I highly recommend it. Next movie is E.T. E.T. is another beautiful movie following a boy who comes across an alien, E.T., and it's all about them trying to get E.T. home, and it's heartfelt, and the boy and the alien create this bond. It's beautiful. The next movie is Fantastic Mr. Fox. This is so good. The animation is beautiful. It has all the autumn colors, and it follows the storyline of this animal community who basically, Mr. Fox, he starts to steal things from the farmers, and the farmers start digging up the community of animals, and it displaces them all, and it's their story of like working together and outwitting the humans. It's brilliant. It's funny, it's heartfelt, it's a beautiful story. The next movie is Coraline, which again, most of these are based off books. I love books, but I love books based off, movies based off books. It's beautiful. But Coraline is, again, a classic one to watch during these colder seasons. It follows the story of a girl who moves to a new house, which has got like different apartments within the house with her family, and she starts to feel a bit ignored and not wanted. And so she goes through this secret door and meets this other mother who has buttons for eyes, and it follows the story and mystery behind it. It's very interesting. The next movie is Howl's Moving Castle, which is, I don't know if I'm saying it right, but I'm going to say Studio Ghibli movie. And this again is based off a book. But the illustrations, the animation, it's beautiful. The story's beautiful. I love the meaning behind it. And again, another classic is Harry Potter. The Harry Potter movies are great to watch during Halloween time, but also just in the colder seasons. The stories, the music, the characters, it's a great film. The final movie is The Little Princess. I personally like both versions. I've seen two different versions. There's the most recent version, which I'll put the picture up, but there's also the Shirley Temple version, which is amazing because it's got Shirley Temple in it. Brilliant. And I've talked about the book, so I'm not going to explain it because it's the same thing, just movie form, but I would recommend watching both versions. The next category is TV shows. One of my favorite TV shows for the autumn season and colder seasons, winter, autumn, is The Famous Five. There is a new adaptation that has come out like really recently, but it's I think it's 70s or 80s. I don't know, but I'll have it up. And it's just, I don't think you can stream it, but you can get it on DVD, and it is worth your money. If you love classic, like if you like the classic kind of TV, this is the kind of thing you want to watch. It's beautiful. It follows the same storyline as the books. It's a tad different though. You fall in love with the characters. The scenery is beautiful. Yeah, I would highly recommend. The next series is Hilda. Hilda is an animated series that came out, I think, in 2018 or 2019, I'm not 100% sure. The main character, Hilda, is voiced over by Bella Ramsey, which, oh my god. But it follows the story of a young girl who lives in the wilderness with her mum and basically starts to find out that there are elves and animals, and she's really into looking after her land and the environment and the animals. But then her mum moves them to the city and she's really unhappy because there's no more birds singing all the time and there's just smoke and loud noises and it's just not as beautiful or fun. But she starts to learn because she makes friends when she joins the Scouts, and she starts to learn that she can still help the environment and educate people while still being in the city. It's a beautiful story. The next TV show is a classic, Gilmore Girls. I don't think I need to explain this, but Gilmore Girls is a great TV show to binge watch during these colder seasons. The final TV show I'd like to recommend is the Brambley Hedge TV show. These are books, which I'm just going to add in here. I love the books. There's different seasons and all that kind of stuff. But the TV show is beautiful with the stop motion / animation. I'm not 100% sure which one it is, but it's a great series. They're very true to the books and they're very cozy. You can get them in DVD, but I will say you can actually find the full episodes on YouTube. The last category is activities. I think that even though the where you are is probably going to get colder or drearier when it's autumn and winter, it is so much fun to go for a nature walk. I went for many nature walks during these colder seasons, and I went with one with a friend, and it was pouring down with rain, but we still went out anyway. It actually made it way more fun. You got to jump in puddles like you were a little kid like you were a kid again. It was a great experience, and I would highly recommend it because you get out in nature and it's important to just breathe in that fresh air and not spend all your time inside just cramped up during these colder seasons. You want to be able to go out and explore still. With the outdoor theme, I'm going to say that it is a great thing to birdwatch. Yes, I know that sounds kind of nerdy, but to just look outside and watch the birds, try and identify it by its calls. There are so many apps that you can use to actually record the bird's song, and then it will tell you what bird it is. Just a cheap pair of binoculars to look out. It's a great thing to do, and I think it's brilliant because you can actually start to identify. The more you see it and you look them up, the easier it is to identify them when you see them again. I think it's a great activity. To go with the bird watching thing is a bird feeder. You can make a bird feeder out of like a milk carton and just put seeds in it, but there's also activities where you can actually make the bird seed and bird feeders like into like shapes and hang them off the trees, and it means that you can see the birds come near your house, all that kind of thing. I think it's a great idea. Another activity I love to do during the colder seasons is make a fort and watch a movie. Making a fort and watching a movie makes me feel like a little kid again. It makes me feel like I'm in like a little cozy little cottage, or I'm in the deep dark woods hidden in a tower and I'm just watching my movie all by myself. I love it. It's a great activity. You can do it with a friend, you can do it with family, you can do it with a loved one. It's a great activity. Another activity is watercolor or artwork. You could color in, you could draw, you could watercolor, you could paint, all this creative stuff. It's a great thing to do during these colder seasons because you can cultivate your knowledge and work harder on it, but you can also just explore and enjoy it and spend time with others. It's a great activity. The next activity is, I don't know if lots of people can do it, but we did it when we went away for a weekend during these colder seasons, was build a fire. And it is so much fun to build a fire and just sit by the fire and keep warm even though it's cold outside, or you might have a fireplace in your house and you can sit by the fire and keep warm and read a book or whatever. I don't know, but it's a great activity. And to go along with that is roasting marshmallows. Roasting marshmallows by the fire is a wonderful memory to keep, and just watching it like bubble and burn, not burn, but like toast is beautiful, and the gooiness of the marshmallow when you eat it when it's warm and sugary, there's nothing better. I hope this video was helpful to any of you, and I hope that it gave you ideas and inspiration to take to these colder seasons to watch movies or TV shows or read books or have activities to do during these colder seasons where it feels like you can't do anything and it just feels dreary and sad, when you can actually just enjoy it and soak up all this extra time. I mean, there's not always extra time, but it just feels slower sometimes and more dreary and closed in. And to have activities like this and to be able to watch movies and recommendations of books and all that kind of stuff can really help get through it and make it a really pleasant, happy experience. Thanks for watching. I hope you can like and subscribe, and that you can hopefully share this video with a friend or family who loves the colder seasons or wants recommendations for the colder seasons or enjoys books, because books are my main thing, but I also love to give nature things. So if any of those things sound interesting to you, it would be amazing if you could subscribe and share it with a friend. Thanks. Bye.